January 28th. Well, I've eaten, if you want to call that eating. There's a gold purse on one of the rocks at the center of the island. The rocks are all jumbled up into a kind of mini mountain there, all covered with bird shit too. Got a chunk of stone that just fit in my hand and climbed up as close to it as I dared. It just stood there on its rock watching me with its bright black eyes. I'm surprised the rumbling in my stomach didn't scare it off. I threw the rock as hard as I could and it hit broadside. Let out a loud squawk and tried to fly away, but I broke its right wing. I scrambled up after it and it hopped away. I could see the blood trickling over its white feathers. The son of a bitch led me a merry chase. Once, on the other side of the central rock pile, I got my foot caught in a hole between two rocks and nearly fractured my ankle. It began to tire of this, and finally caught it on the east side of the island. It was actually trying to get into the water and paddle away. I caught a handful of its tail feathers. I turned around and pecked me. Then I had one hand around its feet. I got my other hand on its miserable neck and broke it. The sound gave me great satisfaction. Lunch is served. You know, ha ha. I carried it back to my camp. But even before I plucked and gutted it, I used iodine to swab the laceration its beak had made. Birds carry all sorts of germs. The last thing I would need now is an infection. The operation on this mole went quite smoothly. I could not cook it, alas. Absolutely no vegetation or driftwood on the island, and the boat was sunk, so I ate it raw. My stomach wanted to regurgitate it immediately. I sympathized, but could not allow it. I counted backward until the nausea passed. It almost always works. Can you imagine that bird almost breaking my ankle and then pecking me? If I catch another one tomorrow, I'll torture it. I let this one off too easily. Even as I write this, I am able to glance down as a severed neck on sand. Its black eyes, even with the death glaze on, seem to be mocking. Do gulls have brains in any quantity? Are they edible? No chow today, January 29th. One gull landed near the top of the rock pile, but flew off before I could get close enough to throw it a forward pass, ha. I've started a beard, itches like hell. If the gull comes back and I get it, I'm going to cut its eyes out before I kill it. I was one hell of a surgeon. As I believe I may have said, they drill me out. It's a laugh, really. They'll all do it. And they're so bloody sanctimonious. When someone gets caught at it, screw you, Jack, I got mine. The second oath, let's hit Hippocrates and hypocrites. I had enough stocked away from my adventures as an intern and a resident. That's supposed to be like an officer and a gentleman according to the oath of hypocrites, but don't believe it. To set myself up in practice on Park Avenue. A good thing for me, too. I had no rich daddy or established patron, as so many of my colleagues did. But the time my shingles was out, my father was 9 years in his pauper's grave. My mother died the year before my license to practice was revoked. It was a kickback thing. I had a deal going with half a dozen east-side pharmacists, with 2 drug supply houses, and with at least 20 other doctors. Patients were sent to me, and I sent patients. I performed operations and prescribed the correct post-op drugs. Not all the operations were necessary, but I never performed one against a person's will. And I never had a patient look down at what was written on the prescript blank and say, I don't want this. Listen, they'd be having a hysterectomy in 1965 or a partial thyroid in 1970. They'd still be taking painkillers 5 or 10 years later, if you'd let them. Sometimes I did. I wasn't the only one, you know. They could afford to have it. And sometimes the patients would have trouble sleeping after minor surgery, or trouble getting diet pills, or Librium. It can all be arranged, huh? Yes. If they hadn't gotten it from me, they would have gotten it from someone else. Then the tax people got to Lowenthal. That's sheep. They waited 5 years in his face, and he coughed up half a dozen names. One of them was mine. They watched me for a while, and by the time they landed, I was worth a lot more than 5 years. There were a few other deals, including the prescription blanks, which I hadn't given up entirely. It's funny. I didn't really need the stuff anymore, but it was a habit. Hard to give up that extra sugar. Well, I knew some people. I pulled some strings. I threw a couple of people to the wolves. Nobody I liked. Everyone I gave to the feds was a real son of a bitch. Christ, I'm hungry. January 30th. No goals today. Reminds me of the signs you sometimes see on the push carts back in the neighborhood. No tomatoes today. I walked out into the water up to my waist with a sharp knife in my hand. I stood completely still in that one place with the sun beating down on me for 4 hours. Twice I thought I was going to faint, but I counted backward until it passed. I didn't see one fish, not one.